Okay, I am having my inaugural podcast of Interstage Left with one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite people in the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm.
Um, this woman that you see on the right of me is a masterful artist. And now we're going to jump in and we're going to talk to Catherine Castellanos. Everybody, can we get a hand clap for Catherine? How are you? First of all, let's check in with that. How are you?
I'm good. I'm well. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm always happy to wake up to another day.
yes, yes, that's important because
Mhm.
it could have went the other way.
And how
Yeah,
are you?
I'm good. I'm good. On the journey, waking up every day and trying to stay as healthy as I possibly can. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to jump in and start talking to you about. Um, so the other day I saw that you started rehearsals for Hamlet,
Macbeth.
and huh?
No, the Scottish one, Macbeth.
Oh,
Careful now.
Macbeth.
Careful now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I missed that. Don't let me mess with the Shakespeare gods. So it was Macbeth, and you
Yeah.
are playing Macbeth.
I am.
Can you tell me about that? Can you tell me how the project? Do you know how the project started? Who's the person who did the rewrite of it? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So Play On is a thing that started up at Oregon Shakespeare Festival where you and
Hmm.
I met. Hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, and danced on what are they called? The boards.
Yes.
Um, quite literally. Um, and Play On Louis Dossett commissioned, what is it, 36 contemporary writers to
Wow.
translate every one of the plays in the canon. And so the translator for our Macbeth is Migdalia Cruz,
Hmm.
New Yorker. And I love her. The translation isn't like the writers interpret, they just translate line by line, which is so great for, there caused a lot of controversy, but it's like, it's helpful for education. I don't think Shakespeare would have any problem with writers writing,
Right.
right? And
Right.
especially people who have their writers are the ones that give us sanity right now in our insane world, right? And
Yeah.
so, and Shakespeare was like that. He was pretty snarky with all that royalty, and he was writing for the royalty,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
not he wrote about the royalty. He was really writing for the groundlings, right? To make sense. He wrote so much about just the human condition and atrocities and injustices, and he humanized royalty, right?
Right.
So Macbeth, I'm feeling like I can say the name because I'm still in the theater and I'm rehearsing it. No, I don't want. No, seriously, it's like I don't want to tempt any fates or anything, right? Um, you will appreciate this, I think, Yvette, because uh, uh, our concept, the director's concept, is that it is set in the Bronx and some Brooklyn maybe, but mostly the Bronx.
Okay.
1977. So we're gonna have a disco song for sure.
Oh, that's amazing.
Um, and we're kind of like not necessarily like a like the Sopranos kind of mob family, but a lot of crud was going on the streets of New York in '77. Son of Sam, the sanitation strike,
Yes.
super hot. It was ripe for crime.
Yeah, it was.
Uh,
It was.
and the director is someone who I've been working with for, well, I have to say, like a quarter of a century. We met at the California
Yeah.
Shakespeare Theater. Hmm. And Liam Vincent is his name, and he works with the Magic Theater. He's the associate artistic director. And he had an idea to do this and direct it. And I call Liam, like, I don't think he'll mind me saying this. I call him one of my son's gay daddies because he had such a great relationship with his mother. God rest her soul. She just passed away. A beautiful relationship. Liam grew up in Manhattan as well. And Migdalia grew up in the Bronx. Um, but Liam had such a beautiful relationship with his mom. And when my sons became teenagers and they were giving me some hard times, I'm like, what is the secret? How did you have this relationship? And he's like, I cringe to think of how I was with my mom when I was that age. And I'm like, okay, it's normal. So he's known my boys since they were little in elementary school, and they're grown men now. And
Okay.
and Liam and I, we love each other very much. We're like familial. And so he had this idea to have me play the role. And one night we were talking about it, and this was months ago. We've already had 2 workshops, and we're in rehearsal now, in production now. And one night we were talking about it after an event here at the Magic Theater in San Francisco. And I kept saying, and he's this, and he's that, and he's this. The last part I did up at Oregon Shakespeare Festival was Capulet. And it was just Catherine Castellanos playing Capulet. So we didn't change pronouns. I just played the role. I mean, in Shakespeare's day, all men played all the
Right.
roles, right? So why
Hmm.
not? It's just a pinche play, right?
Right.
It's like we can do what we want. So I was talking to Liam, and then I was saying he, and this and that, and he and this, and blah blah blah. And he said, Catherine, I have to tell you, I'm not identifying Macbeth as a man. And I'm like, okay, well, hold up. And he said, no, I believe it's a gay relationship. And I went,
Hmm.
oh, oh, okay, all right. Well, that makes sense. I mean, Liam's gay. Danny Shea, who is an incredible actor, he's playing the porter. Danny is so
Hmm.
San Francisco, like
Yeah.
billboard for Castro. Um, and what it is feeding me is um, to live in the world as an undeniably gay woman in this play who is not necessarily masculine, but isn't presenting so femme. And to walk in the streets, there's just so much other being othered so much, being in this mob sort of world, um, that it gave me an opportunity to feel so frustrated that I'm so good at what I do, and I've come to an age where I will never get my comeuppance. I'll never get it in this man's world. And we're just coming out of the 60s where he's setting it, and women's
Right.
lib, Vietnam,
Right. Right.
right? And I'm so what happens to someone who gets so othered?
Hmm.
Um, and, and in this play, I become what I hate. It makes me like emotional when I talk about it
Yeah.
because my Lady Macbeth, it's different. The dynamic is different.
Yeah.
When she's talking about, where's your courage, and Lady Macbeth is often played as being the villainous sort of thing, and
Right.
she certainly talks Macbeth into doing the stuff, but for us, it's sort of like she reminds me of how boss I am. She
Mm.
reminds me of my strengths, and this is our chance, right?
Right.
And she's my world. Like I'm risking everything by being out with her,
Yeah.
right? Now, for me and my Macbeth, I think, I'm what the kids call on the street, a gold star. I'm just look it up, Google it.
Oh, I know what that is.
I know you, but maybe not everyone else does.
Well, look that up. Gold Star. Y'all look that up.
But for Lady Macbeth, this is probably, if not her first lesbian relationship. It's very new. And she's found an unconditional love. We both have. We see each other's weaknesses, for lack of a better word,
Right.
and we're not wanting to trigger that, but we can be honest with each other. And we're living in a pretty gnarly time. So the rules are kind of wackadoo. Our witches hang out in the subway, and they're like these, I don't know, like they're messed up. I'm like, no, don't make eye contact.
Don't look at them. Don't look at them. Much like the subway is today. Don't look at them. Don't look at them. But it sounds like a fascinating I wish I could see that.
I do too.
That sounds like so much fun to dig into, and so much development that can be done with that type of relationship in this play. So I want to get some other stuff in there with you, because I could talk about this little show
No,
ditty
let's
with
do
you
it.
all day. So I know you're from the Bay Area. You're originally from San Francisco, or?
And I'm originally from a little town in the Central Valley called Stockton,
Okay.
California,
Okay.
which is
Stockton.
about 90 minutes east of the Bay.
Okay. Okay. So we met at the Mighty Osif,
Yes,
for
we
the
did.
Shakespeare Festival. That's my creation. If I hear anybody else say it, I know you stole it from me. And the first time I saw you on stage was Row.
Mm.
And that was a powerful piece. And sad to say, we're in this place again, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw you in the bar that we all went to, and I was like, that's not the same lady that was on stage. Because you let your hair down and your face was beat. I was like, no, that's not the lady. That's not the Catherine. That's not her. But you were amazing in that role, and so it's so poignant now, because women are still going through the drama of having our own bodily autonomy. And then we also shared the stage in Merry Wives of Windsor, although I was there for the vocal entertainment. But at least we got to be in a show together.
Yeah, we did.
I just want to know what inspired you, because being involved, living in the Bay Area, I know it's a lot of art and creativity in that town. But what sparked you to want to be creative, to be on stage, or how did you get to the stage? Did you start somewhere else?
Mm.
Just want to know what your backstory is of how you got to be, how you got to
Mm.
start this.
Hmm. I never really imagined, like some people say, ever since I was a kid, this is what I wanted to do. I never really imagined that. I lost my dad when I was very young, at 5. I'm the youngest of 6, and so raised by a widow. And I never made many decisions as a kid and a teenager without thinking about my mother first. It's like that line in Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest, when Lady Bracknell is interviewing Ernest, and she says something like, "Tell me about your parentage," and he said, "Your mother." "Oh, I lost my mother," or whatever. I'm just going to paraphrase all this, and then she says, "How about your father?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, he's dead too." And she said, "Oh, to lose one parent is sad, but to lose both seems careless." And it's like I always love that line, because it's like that validates my childhood. But in high school, it was the senior year, and I was kind of moody. And the literature teacher was reading Little Fox's Lily and Hellman. She wanted us to read out loud. No one was, asking to do it. And then she said, "You'll get excused from homework this weekend." Like my hand went up. if you did. I mean, I really thought I went to St. Mary's High School. Her name was Joan Top, Ms. Top. It's her that started everything. And
Mm,
I went to St. Mary's High School, small high school, and I thought I had a learning disability or something. I mean, I barely graduated, and so we did the play. I said my mom will probably say no, and she called my mom, and my mom said okay. She found out all the hours and everything, and I did the play, The Song of Bernadette, and I played Sister Marie Therese Vazou, who doubted Saint Bernadette. And in the end, I needed to ask her forgiveness. And I was in the wings in our gymnasium, and I looked out, and the lighting was everything was transformed. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Everything was transformed. And I looked out at the bleachers, and I could see my family, my mom and my siblings. I'm the youngest of six, if I didn't say so. And they're pretty much older than me. But I got very moved, and I'd never cried in public at school because I already felt like a freak in kindergarten because I only had one parent. Um, right, my dad died that summer before I went into kindergarten, and so I never publicly cried. You know, I had that mask from very early,
Yeah.
and but I got very moved, and I started welling up, and I had to go on stage and do the scene. So I was acting like I wasn't crying while I'm saying, asking for Bernadette's forgiveness.
Right.
And then the curtain call happens, and the other student who was a stage manager said, "You have to go out and take your curtain call." And I'm like, "No, I effed up. I can't." And she goes, "You better go." And I'm like, "I'm not going out there. I messed up." And she said, "Ms. Top will be mad." And I'm like, Ms. Top was never mad. And I'm like, I'm not going to be the one that makes Ms. Top mad.
Right, right.
So, so I went out and I did the curtain call, and there was a lot of applause. And I was like, I think I can live up here. And then, and then when I saw my mom afterward, I came down and I saw my mom, and her face looked like happier than I'd ever seen it in my life.
Mm,
And she looked at me and she said, "Kathy, I think we found what you do."
mm,
So I kind of was like glad that I gave her that. And then I went to the
right.
junior college in Stockton. Then I had a crush on my very older British literature teacher. And he was very excited that the new professor in the drama department from Carnegie Mellon was going to do Shakespeare. And so I went up to him and I said, "Yeah, I've done a little acting. Maybe you could." So stupid, so stupid. I was 19. Maybe you can, help me with the Shakespeare. Oh, I'd love to. So we'd go on long walks in parks and stuff and study Romeo and Juliet. I can't even remember his name.
Wow.
Needless to say,
Wow.
I got caught into the theater. And when I first time I walked into that black box theater, I wanted to learn everything. And I thought, I can learn. I just couldn't learn in those four walls.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's how it all started.
Okay.
And then when I moved to San Francisco, um, I moved to San Francisco like in '87. So I've been inside. It's my home, even though I
Right.
was born aside. It's my home.
Right. Right.
And I was going to go to the junior college there. I got accepted to Drama Studio London and Berkeley and all these other things, but
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to study like adolescent development and literature, which is basically theater. Um,
Right.
and
Right.
right, and I was interviewing at different places. I was at SF State, third place that I went to, and the guy there said to me, I said, "I think I want to teach, college level." And he goes, "Oh, well, you'll get a master's for that." And I was like, "Oh my God, how much more school is that?" And he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I started crying in his office, and I said, "I think I want to act." And he said he was the third person who recommended this woman, Jean Shelton. He said, "You should go see Jean Shelton." Okay, now this is back in the day. I got in my little Volkswagen Bug. I found the first pay phone
Mm.
dropped a dime, it might have been a quarter then, um, and called the Gene Shelton School expecting to hear a man, and it was this Southern woman going, "Hello, Gene Shelton Actors Lab." And I said, "Yeah, I've been living in San Francisco for 2 weeks, and I just admitted to someone at SF State that I think I want to act, and I think if I don't do it, I might go crazy." And she said, "You got some time right now? I don't start class for 20 minutes, but I'd love to have a chat with you."
Mm.
And so I went and I talked with her, and gave her some of my experience. And she sent me to another instructor in her school, which was her son. He was fantastic. But she said, "Go learn my language, then come and see me." And she's like my mentor. It was in a basement and underneath a store in Union Square,
Wow.
where I
Okay.
studied with her for about 3.5 years until she kicked me out of the nest. She said, "You can't come back to class until you have an audition." I went to audition and I came back. I said, "I got a part." So that's how it all started. Long story long.
A long story long. It's a fascinating story. Everybody has a journey to get with it, to get to the stage, and that's part of the reason why I want to talk to folks, let people know how there's so many ways to get to this place.
Yes.
And it's so fascinating how we all come from different places, different backgrounds, different life experiences, and we all end up in the
Yeah.
same show. And so that's really really fascinating to me. So like a lot of things happen to us when we're on stage, right? And so we have the stress of life, we have the outside things that make us, distract us from doing our work, especially during rehearsals and when we're doing the show. What are some of the things that you do to um stay focused on the work that you need to do outside of all of, how do you shut the world out and just do the thing? Like, do you have
Mm,
pre-show rituals? Do you have
hmm.
pre-performance? Do you have things that you do or mantras that you say or whatever you need to do to block out everybody else and do your thing?
Yeah. Definitely I have rituals. I used to be way more ritualistic than I am now because at this age, and also experience lends itself to embracing just where I am. That I have to start from a genuine, real place.
Hmm.
If I start from a fake place, a manufactured place, I'm a firm believer that you do what you practice, right? So it's like I practice being genuine and where I am all the time. That said, there's a lot of solitary work,
Yes.
right? Where there's a lot of study. So much of it is studying, right? And it's like I need to not just learn my lines, but know what I'm saying, and that'll help me learn my lines.
Right.
I know what my motivations are and what the writer is needing me to behave with. And then I remember how lucky I am to be able to go into that room, to be able to, through art, comfort our community with displaying unimaginable things
Yes.
and be in communion and to be as genuine as I can be. And today I played with a dialect in rehearsal, and I felt self-conscious about it. But I'm like, I didn't say the concept was the Bronx in '77. The director did, and
Right.
this play has got to be an entertaining horror story. I
Right.
want it to be entertaining too. So
Right.
it's going to be entertaining to hear, hear Macbeth say, just talk like, kind of like this,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
be speaking Shakespeare, but
Right.
is this a dagger I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee.
Yeah.
It's like you you're interested in that person, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Who is this person?
Right.
I I it's very important to me that I embrace and am very genuine about the flaws of my character,
Mhm.
to make it okay to know that we're all flawed.
Yeah.
You know, there's none of us as some people act like they are
Hmm.
and think they're the boss of the universe. Not going to talk about that, Dodo.
No, please.
No, that's worse than saying Macbeth.
Yeah, yeah. That's a curse.
But yeah, I'll tell you one thing I specifically did here. I've spent some time with my sisters in Sonoma. One lives in Sebastopol, the other lives in a town called Windsor. And the one in Windsor, she goes to this church. It's this little yellow Victorian place, and they have a pride flag hanging off of it.
Mhm.
Windsor Presbyterian Church. And so I started going with her, and then I asked the pastor. I asked the pastor, this woman, and there are a bunch of queer people in this very small congregation. And I asked the pastor, I said, I feel like I'm going to need a ritual to go into this world and to leave this world. And what I want to do is ask, because Macbeth beckons demons.
Mhm.
And I was not raised to do that. I was
Yeah.
raised to fear that. And
Yes.
so I said, I want something, a scripture or something in a prayer that I ask God for the strength for me through my art to do what I need to do to tell this story so it can hit the hearts and minds of the people who need to hear the story. And then to be able to come out of it with a ritual, take the things off, hang them up, say, see you
Right.
next time,
Right.
and go out into the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to carry this around.
No, you don't want to carry that around. That's something you don't want to carry around. Um. So we do this thing called stage, and sometimes things go horribly wrong. So, have you experienced anything where you're on stage and you're like, "Uh-oh," and you have to like improvise and like you go up on your lines, or did like anything happen? Did your Victorian dress fall down? Did like anything happen to you on stage that you're like, I need this show to end like right now?
Yvette, you got me knocking on wood right now. um, yeah, there was this one time where I was doing, I don't remember what play it was, over at Cal Shakes.
Hmm.
And it was that play that has Dogberry in it. I don't remember what that play is called, and it's terrible, some Shakespeare play. So anyway, and we entered through the audience, and we were like the secondaries, sort of like the clown troupe sort of thing, that
Right.
comedic sort of stuff. And my character was, I think his name was Vernon, I don't remember, but I had a clipboard and I had a mustache and stuff like that, to differentiate me from the other character I was playing, a woman in a gown. So we went on, or entering through the audience. This is an outdoor theater here in the East Bay. And I heard this patron say, this older man say, I hate it when they enter through the audience. So I got distracted. So we get on stage, and I'm sitting where I'm supposed to sit, and these people are doing their talking. And all of a sudden, I hear silence on stage. And I'm like, why is it so quiet? And I look up for my clipboard, and everyone's looking at me. And I'm like, oh, I was so distracted by this dude, the empath that I am. And so I started, all I could say was the. I did it in verse, da. And they were looking at me. They were looking at me like, what is wrong with you? And then I just kind of lost it. And my mustache kind of went like that. And then I got the clipboard and I covered it up. And then I couldn't handle it, and turned out into like a Carol Burnett moment, because in the audience, they caught on. And everyone in the bowl was just like laughing at
Oh
this
my
thing.
gosh.
I never recovered all night. We made another entrance, and before the entrance, one of my co-players, he said before, I'm like, no one say anything. No one say anything. And we're waiting in the wings to do our next scene. And he said, you dud in verse. And I came on laughing, and I never recovered all night. I think the audience loves that stuff.
Oh, they do. They do. They love
They
when they see
love
something happen on stage. You're like, they don't know what they're doing up there. And we're like, no, we don't. No, we have no idea where we are. What room are we in? I don't know where we are. What show is this?
yeah.
How do you take care of yourself mentally and physically in this world, and enough that you can give of yourself, all of yourself, as you do in the characters that you play? Like, what do you do to take care of your mental and your physical?
Well, I used to be much better at that. I think so many of us, I just saw this thing today where there's this page I follow on Instagram called We the Urban. And it's just all these affirmations, but they really have their finger on the pulse. And they talked about, you scroll through all the thing and there's this nice song playing behind, but it was all about sort of the collective depression that is going on, so there's so much depression, on different levels. Now I'm not a psychiatrist or anything. I'm not, but it feels that way. So I probably watch more reality TV than I should. Sometimes you watch some of them and go, well, it could be worse.
Yeah.
I ironically, working on this scary play right now has made me get more in tune with, I got to go to the doctor. I got to I got to, go to church more. I worked at a food pantry, volunteering every Tuesday morning up in Northern California. It's important to me to give when I can my time.
Right.
I don't know, have my gratitudes, sometimes I can look out the window right here, Fort Mason. It's a Golden Gate Bridge. It's gorgeous here, right?
Right.
And that's fantastic. But sometimes the gratitude is at the base is like, I'm grateful that I can feel a shirt on my back today. Right. I'm grateful that I may not be able to sleep, but I'm grateful that I have a bed to lie on.
Yeah.
And I try to walk. What I did when I got up in Northern California staying with my sisters, I said, you know what? It's flat here. So I need to go get a bike. And so I got a bike, and I a Huffy, and I for cheap, and I'd ride it to the library and go do my script work. And as much as I can really hold myself up, and kind of an introvert, so I need to rejuice.
Yes.
We're around a lot of people, and it's a lot of energy.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a lot of energy, and as much as I could just then be by myself, I need to force myself to go around, be around people too. I could work in my room, or I could go to a cafe and watch people.
Yeah.
And music, and I also want to say too, it's like I have this grandbaby that's giving me life. Life.
So how old is the grandbaby?
Oh my gosh. Westy. His name is West, and West will be 3 at the end of May, May 23rd, and he is fabulous, fabulous. We vibe, and he gets me to do things like I'm like. The other day, I got this like blood hemorrhage in my eye. I didn't even know I got it. My son said, "What's wrong with your eye?" It was all. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with it. It was all bloody. That's what got me to the doctor. And I'm
Wow.
like, oh, well, West gets me like rolling around the ground and picking him up. And I popped an eye blood vessel. Good God. It's better now.
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad to hear that it's better now.
It was scary though.
Yeah. Yeah. We are different people. I'm not a grandparent yet, but we're different people. I see my mother with her grandchildren, and I'm like, you didn't do that with us. She's like, you're not my grandchild. So, it's a completely different energy with the grandchildren.
Pure joy.
Let me just ask you this. If you could work with anybody, dead or alive, what would be your dream like collaboration? Like, who would you? Is there anybody that you would like want to work with in any capacity? If it's a director or a producer, a co-star, anybody, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. That is such a question. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Well,
There's
rattle
so
off a couple for me.
okay. When I was younger, I was like I would have loved to have met Jonathan Demme and been
Mm.
directed by him in a film. When I was younger. Not that that's changed, but oh man, I loved Peter O'Toole.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah.
Uh who else, man? There's so many people. I would have loved to have been in a room like with like James Dean and Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth
Mm.
Taylor. Um Elizabeth Taylor, how fantastic she was, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, not just in work but
Indeed, she
also
was.
in
Yeah.
advocacy and
Yeah.
um God, there's so many, and even living today. And
Difficulty. Let me see. Got you. Okay. Lost you for a second.
oh yeah, you got frozen too.
Yeah. I got frozen. I'm like, this technical stuff is like crazy. It's an interesting question to ask people. Like, who would you want to be, in a room with? One of mine is James Earl Jones. Um,
Oh yeah.
I that's it. That's all I have to say. Like
Hmm.
James Earl Jones. That's it. That's just one of my ones that I would love to do. Um,
I have to say Jana Rollins too. Jana Rollins is
oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's good. She's really good. I
Hmm.
think she's not I don't think she gets enough, if that makes sense. I feel like she's underestimated, maybe, if that's the right word to say. I think yeah. Yeah. I don't think she gets enough attention to me. I could be
Yeah,
wrong, but
it was like they were sort of like the indie film before indie film was indie film kind of thing, right? With
right,
Cassavetes and stuff. And so she wasn't that mainstream movie star.
right, right,
The
right.
idea of what that was, but she kind of was, man. I mean, those legs and the blonde hair and the talent and
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Let me see. What else do I want to ask you? What else do I want to ask you? Oh, okay. What's a lesson? Um, we learn things along the way, right? What's a lesson you learned the hard way in this business? Like what not to do? Because you came into this sort of like you just sort of fell into it and then you trained yourself. You were trained and you did the work to become the
mhm.
master to me that you are. But as you were going through, the learning process, like what did you fall into? You're like, oh no, I can't do that again. Like, something that you learned the hard way, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. I wonder. I mean, I'm sure there's something. I'm sure there is. I I'm so protective of my naivete. I
Okay.
feel like it's essential. So I was never really afraid to, like, even one quarter when I was studying with Gene, I said, I want to focus on being the biggest ass I can be because I didn't want to be self-conscious. So I
Right,
wanted to make really huge choices, not
right,
worry that someone is going to misinterpret what I'm doing for my character as, oh, Catherine must be that effed up. You
right,
know what I
right,
mean? Um,
right.
so I've always been kind of open with that, and quiet, because I did have my training with Gene. I learned a technique, but my
Right,
master classes were really with each show that I did, and
right.
listening and learning and watching these great people that I was working with. But I have
Yeah.
to say, I think when I worked at Cal Shakes, I had uh, I had shame that, there were out of town artists where we do student matinees and the students would say, where'd you go to school? And people say, I went to Yale School of Drama, and I went to NYU, and I went to here. And I knew the person that, moderated. And I said, when it comes to me, Cliff, just, change the subject. Uh,
Mm,
and then I had a dresser. Uh, there was a dresser who said to me, you need to tell these students where you're from. You need to represent. And so I was like, that frightened me, and I did. And it was a little boy in the front row, this little brown little boy, looked like he was in fifth grade. And he said, are you Latina? And I said, I am. He said, I knew it. And so those two things really taught me to, it's still sometimes hard, because uh, I try to let my work speak for itself, but
right.
I, I I wish that I had sometimes gone that route. I think things would have been easier for me if I
Mm,
had if I had been able, and I had that support, not that my
right.
family didn't support what I did, but I didn't have that guidance.
Right. Right.
Our family, not to put down my family, but Brown family, it's like the men went to college, and my sisters did too, but when by the time it got to me, it's like I I was taught how to iron shirts, and I'm like, no, I'm not just gonna do that. Thank God Madonna came
No.
around when I was, a teenager.
For sure. That's
Right?
how I don't have a degree in this, and I don't have the experience when I would sit in these rooms with people and they would say, and I'd be like, well, I don't have a degree, but I'm in the same show as you. So how about that?
Exactly.
How
I
about
feel like
that?
we're I feel like we're all peers.
Yeah,
It's like if someone's
absolutely.
20, 23 years old and they're in a show with me, we're peers, we're colleagues.
Exactly. Exactly. We're colleagues. We're doing a show and we're getting things done. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's some people don't feel that way. And
No, they
yeah,
don't.
you get a little bit okay, with the degrees and what you studied, but we're in the same show. So I don't understand why we're having this clash of elitism is what
Mm.
it's what it feels like when people approach you that way with their, you know, and sometimes I get a little snippy and a little sassy, but you know, quiet your tone, don't do too
Yeah.
much. Um,
Yeah.
because it
It's
really,
fear. It's fear.
like, what did you do and where did you come from? And, you know, I just sort of tilt my head and really, is that so? One of the reasons why I started a podcast is because The
Yeah.
industry is changing so rapidly,
Hmm.
and no one sent us the memo. And what I mean by that is the AI, the social media. We even the younger people who are graduating and what have you, audition is what we do, right? We go in to get the job. Now it seems like we have to have followers and be content creators and the AI and know how to use the chat GPT. Bad enough the pandemic sent me into a tailspin of becoming an editor, a green screen producer, all things, right? So now it's changed so much so fast. And I was like, I don't remember anybody saying that that's what we had to do now. So I just like to have your take on the change of the and us having to do the shift to still do what we do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll tell you, that's where it's been the hardest learning curve for me. I've lost parts that I think I should have probably I would have maybe gotten cast in if I just walked into the room and was able to audition live
right,
and like
right,
talk to someone and share a
right,
vibe. Maybe I wouldn't have. But by the time I get everything set up
right.
and I get the support I need and I find the millennial to help me and we do it all. By the time I get all that set up, I feel like my job is done. Then I forget that I have to act.
You say the words. Yes, yes.
I'm
I'm
like,
tired.
what? It's like I already feel it's such a mind F, I think, for an artist. It's like I'm doing something that is not in my wheelhouse at all,
Right,
that
right,
it's occupied that space in my brain.
right,
So when I'm here then having to, act for it, then
right.
my brain is fried.
Yes,
And so I'm learning to be aware of that,
right.
you know.
Absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
that you could tell, man. I saw a movie the other day, and you could tell when there is AI involved and when there isn't, or when it's like a hybrid. I can feel it. There's not a human thing.
Right,
There's
right,
not a human connection, and it's like, okay, it's serving the story, but why is my body completely disengaging?
right,
And then my body
right,
engages. Now, if it's a super like special effects thing,
right, right.
then all
You
right,
expect that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm seeing.
Right.
But um, it's like it's we were just talking about it in rehearsal today. It's like, wonder if you could like ask AI, how would we block this scene? And someone said, of course you probably could, but why?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what would that give us? And
Nothing.
it, plus every, every every second of energy that's put into a show, every second, anybody who walks into the room is part of the thing. And the ingredients that you put into it, right, are part of the thing. And then
Hmm.
that's what's offered then. That's what the audience gets. And I believe it is my church, man. And there has to be
Yeah.
a purity to it.
Yeah.
There has to be a
Yeah.
realness to it.
Yeah. To try to replace us, the humanity of it is it's a thing that's kind of scary to me. It's like I yeah, it's just and they're trying to achieve it. And we'll see how successful they become.
Would probably be a good thing to invest in, though.
Now you drop a little coin on that. Yeah, drop a little coin on that. Yeah. Um um the last thing I want to ask you
Mm.
is what part of the process feels most like magic to you?
Oh, hmm. I got so much of it. So much of it. I love my solitary work. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, my mind is just so, it's like I can hear myself thanking myself, you know,
Right.
um, because it's like it's fun to me.
Yeah.
It's not lonely to me at all. It's like that's what my imagination needs. But I think probably what's really magical, um, of course, meeting the audience for the first time. But when you start tech and as actors, it's like it. Then we sort of kind of go on the quiet side because we have to make room for tech to build, and you start
Right.
seeing, yeah, and you start seeing the scenes come alive. You start seeing the lights that we're going to be living in and the locations, and when those two things start merging together and making sense, it's magical, you know.
Right.
How many times are you in tech where it's like the oohs and ahs that we give, like, oh, it's that,
Yeah.
ooh.
Where we finally understand in the room with all the tape on the floor. Walk up these stairs because this is tape on the floor. Like
Like walking like this, like fools, just like
like a cat.
fools.
Like
Yeah, and we're saying, I'm walking up the stairs now. Be serious, like we're 7 years old.
yeah, 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 that part. You're like, yeah. So that's that. Yeah, that's what that is. It is, yeah, that the solitude of finding out who you're from and where they started from, even before the first page was
Hmm.
written. And that's,
Hmm.
yeah, who when you walk into the room. On the show is great, but the discovery is what
Yeah.
is the magic, is the discovery of who you are. Well, let me say,
You know,
Catherine Castellanos,
yes,
it has been a joy to talk to you, and to
I'm
see
so
your
honored.
face after all these years. Oh, I'm honored.
I'm so
Thank you
honored.
for
I
helping me
really am.
start this off. Um,
Yes.
I'm sure. Thank you. I mean, when I started, I swear last year, and I chickened out. You know what you like we do because this is not my wheelhouse, right? Um, and I said I need to talk to Catherine. I need to
Oh,
talk to Catherine.
Yvette.
And you were like one of the
Oh,
first people that popped into my head. I was like, I need to talk to Catherine because Catherine
oh,
Castellanos is the bomb.
you are.
Is the bomb. There's nothing that you say or do. It has no like everything you say is like, yeah, she meant that. Nothing on stage for you is unimportant. There's
Mm,
nothing that feels like you're just trying to get through it and get to
hmm.
the intermission. Every moment that you're on stage, it means something in that moment. And I watched you even in Mary Wives, which is so ridiculous and so funny. Even in that, I watched you, and I was like,
Hmm.
"Damn it, she's good at this." And
Mm.
so yes, you have graced me with your presence on this podcast. That's my craziness to try to be a part of the wave that's changed. So I thank my friend for joining me today.
Thank
And
you
I'm
for
gonna give you
having
a
me.
I have a little mixing board because I'm cute, and I'm gonna do a little hand clap for you.
Hey, what was
Thank
that
you, my
Stevie
love.